Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another movie review. Today, I'm going to be talking about the 2017 movie Tonya, about the American figure skater from the 1990s, the controversial figure skater. Now, I had heard the name Tonya Harding before, but I didn't know much about her. I probably knew that she was a figure skater. As you can tell, I don't know much about recent history. Especially not like 80s and 90s stuff. So it's watching these kind of movies is really interesting for me because it's basically a fresh story. And I'm going to come straight out and say it. This might be my movie from the best movie I saw in 2017 or from 2017. I still haven't seen The Post, Darkest Hour, The Florida Project, and Lady Bird. But as of right now, this is definitely in my number one spot because I thought it basically had no flaws. It is an incredibly, incredibly great movie. So, summary of the story of Tonya Harding. She's sort of a redneck girl who was raised by an abusive mother who spent her basically entire life training to be a figure skater. And there was a lot of controversy surrounding her because she didn't do anything the traditional way, and she had an abusive relationship with a guy named Jeff Goodley, and they ended up planning something that got another skater hurt, and that was where a lot of the controversy started. This isn't a spoiler because it was a real story, but she ended up getting banned from figure skating in court, and that is the overall story of this. Follows it beat for beat. So let's start off with the good things about this movie. There are two bad things, which I will get to at the very end. This movie is shot in almost not really a documentary style, but there are parts of it that are interviews, and there are parts of it that are fourth wall breaks, and it feels like just a fiction story that someone could have wrote, but they mix in interviews that are remakes of actual interviews, which they showed during the credits, and you could tell that they basically did it beat for beat. And I really, really enjoyed that because it added another layer of immersion because you were getting stories from all the different characters. You had the point of view of Tonya, Jeff, her mother, Jeff's friend, the interview guy, and her coach. All of those future people reflecting back on the events as they're happening in the movie, and it was amazing. It really worked well. They timed the interview portions well, and I really enjoyed that aspect. Probably one of the best parts of this movie is the soundtrack. It's pop music, it's piano stuff, it's guitar, it's a mixture of all sorts of different things, but it fits so well because they just change it whenever the tone changes. And there wasn't really any moment where I felt that the music didn't work with the film. Another thing, the camera work in this movie is incredible. The camera flows and follows Tonya as she's skating, and she's doing flips, and she's ducking down and spinning, and not flips, but spinning and jumps and things of that nature, and the camera follows it perfectly. And I have no clue how they did that. I would love to see behind the scenes of how they made this movie because it blew my mind. I'm so used to big shots of battles or canyons or things of that nature that when it's up close on someone doing intricate things that are fast paced, it's really, really impressive. Also, I have no idea how they did the stunts in this movie. I'm not sure. I don't remember who the main actress is. I will look that up right now. But she, I don't know if she did her own stunts. Margot Robbie. I don't know if she did her own stunts. I don't know if they had a stunt double for the parts where it was on her feet, where you couldn't see her head. I don't know if they cropped her head onto there or something, but it worked really well. You couldn't tell if it was a stunt double or whatever they did. It worked. Another good thing is when they're doing TV bits that aren't the interviews, that are from the older time period when she was a child or a teenager or whatever. They have film or like a little grain on the TV like it was in the 80s. And that was a nice touch that they didn't necessarily have to do, but they made it work. The best character trait for Tonya, which makes her more of a character than if she feels like a real person. I mean, of course she was, but she feels as like a movie character as well, which is a nice balance. She never takes the blame for anything. It's sort of a running joke throughout the movie that she always blames it on something else or someone else, whatever her issue is, and it was a character trait that made her just that much more relatable. This movie also is unafraid to be real, brutal, emotional, and just almost sassy. It gets into the nitty-gritty of her being abused by her boyfriend and her mother, and there's so much cursing in this movie. It's almost overkill, but it works because of the situations that they're in, and they're also she's sort of a redneck, and she admits it, so the cursing fits well into the world. My two negative points, and one of them is a nitpick. The actress Margot Robbie, when they're talking about her childhood or teenage years, and she's supposed to be 15, she does not look 15. You can tell she's still whatever age the actress is, and except for they gave her braces and shorter hair, and oof, that really pulled me out of the moment. It did not work at all. I don't know what they could have done. I wish they had sort of had a middle-aged or actually teenage actor, and then skipped up to her in her 20s. Then, because they had a child actor, a kid actor, and then they could have had a teenage actor, and then the main Margot Robbie as the adult Tonya Harding. But whatever. And the final thing is the Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding relationship was really only touched on like once. They talked about them being friends, and then it went away. It was like half a scene, and it was a flashback. And then, so that, I feel like if they had developed that more and shown that they were friends, that the part where Nancy Kerrigan gets her knee bashed by the guy, it would have been a lot more powerful. So that's my issue with sort of the later half of the movie. But overall, man, there are almost no negatives to this movie, and as you can tell, the negatives aren't even that big of a deal. So I have to say, you should go see this movie. If you're familiar with the story of Tonya Harding, you'll get a more in-depth and personalized feel to the story. If you don't know the story like me, then it's just a great story in general with amazing characters that have great relationships and personality traits, and man, it worked really well. This movie also covers everything from when she was 3 or 4 till almost present day, and then they do a summary of what she actually is doing in present day at the end of the movie. So all in all, this is probably the best film for 2017 as of what I've seen now, and I'm going to give it a 9.7 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more daily reviews, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.